Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Wild User Interviews podcast with me, AVB. Today, I got with me Santi, one of the leaders behind the Crecimiento movement in Argentina. Welcome, Santi.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invite.
Mate, I am so excited to have you. We met a while back in Ireland. Do you remember that?
I do. There was a pool. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of people in the pool as well. Yeah, I do.
It was very strange because I went all the way to Thailand and we're at this pool party from Eigenlayer, and I was like, why is everyone speaking Spanish? It was a little bit surreal. It was a very large representation of Argentinians. Why don't you start telling us what were you doing in Thailand?
Okay. That's a good question. Why was I in that pool party where I met you? So now I'm currently pushing Crecimiento, and Crecimiento is a movement to transform Argentina into the first crypto nation. We can talk much more about that later on. I'm also part of the Mule team, and the Mule team does a lot of things, including pop-up cities around the world. And we did these long-term gatherings. I joined the team in March last year in Buenos Aires, and they had already done a pop-up city in Thailand the year before, 2023. And then we had our second chance in 2024, right before DevCon, right before the big pack of craziness. There was this set of pop-up cities all around Chiang Mai, maybe 10 of them. And I was part of the multi-team organizing one in there. Also, the multi-team was helping in the Megasur residency. I was not personally involved, but my friends, my teammates were also a big part of organization there. So I kind of had to be there, but I also really wanted to be there. And it was also very good for Crecimiento as well, as we got to connect with many people with the ecosystem and to tell them more about what's going on in Argentina.
100%. I decided on the spot to attend the Crecimiento in December in Argentina, the last pop-up city in December, after seeing your presentation in Chiang Mai. There was you, there was Juan Bennett, was Vitalik describing some really fucking weird analogy about pop-up cities and delivery drones with smashed ammo being sent for your window. You remember that stuff?
I remember. I don't remember the details of the analogy. It would be great if I did, because we could show it to everyone. I just remember there was a complex analogy with a drone and a conversation about pop-up cities and everything that's going on around them.
Yeah, the analogy was a beautiful inside, like a little window into Vitalik's head, because it was just a random example. But he just went down this really weird rabbit hole with very, very detailed and nuanced. Anyway, but yeah, that was amazing. That pop-up city, Chiang Mai, it was great. For people listening, it's Mu as in MU. And it's an amazing community that had a lot of events everywhere. I think it's the first, at least the first that I know of, that they had a large pop-up city or presence in Africa last year. In the Mu Accra, ACCRA. Was it in Ghana?
Yeah, in Ghana, in Accra. And actually, the MOO has been checking all the checkbox for first in, because it was the first pop-up city in Latin America in March, and that's when I joined the team. And then they did the Ghana. I wasn't part of Ghana itself, but it was also a new event, and it was, again, the first in Africa. But even before that, the event I quickly mentioned in Chiang Mai, not the last year, but the year before that, 2023, was also the first pop-up city in Asia, and it was won by the Wu. So yeah, basically checking on the emerging market continents, if you want.
That's good. And remind me the name of the Mu, also founder or leader. He is Stanford.
You're probably talking about San?
Probably. Yeah, because he lived in Argentina, so he speaks perfect Spanish. But if you look at him,
that's another Chinese guy. So we have Tai and Kun. Yeah, different guys. Yeah, they have very similar names as well. But yeah, Kun, he's from China. He lived in Argentina when he was a kid, so he talks perfect Spanish. He's also good friends with San. He's also contributed to Crecimiento and helping us in many ways. And San, as member of the MOOC, has also been very involved with Crecimiento, and it's very easy to get them confused, especially because their names are almost identical.
Yeah. I don't know if I've mentioned, but corn is amazing. And I remember in Chiang Mai, there were like a few girls from Spain and South America staying with her Dao. And there was this really nice group of like Spanish speaking people. We went out for like Spanish dinner and he just tagged along. He jumped in the same Uber and I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, I don't know if you'll be a little bit out of place because everyone's just going to be speaking Spanish. And on the Uber, he was like busy on his phone, whatever. Dude, we sit down and he sits down in front of me and he starts speaking perfect Spanish. I think he speaks better Spanish than I do. And I didn't want because sometimes it's weird, right? Because it's like, well, I mean, what's the story here? Because yeah, and he lived in Argentina, so it's really good. I mean, for me, and I may have had a couple of beers at that dinner, but it was a really interesting moment of insight because I was like, he found a way to give back the place where he grew up. There's an opportunity in Argentina, but he could have very easily moved on, go to Stanford, meet amazing people, do whatever Stanford people do. It's an incredible launch pad. But he identified that opportunity in Argentina, even though there's many challenges in the country. I think that's the important thread here, turning those challenges into opportunities. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, I fucked up from Venezuela and I never went back. So I'm interested in how does one turn those challenges into opportunities? And maybe you can start by sharing a little bit more of like your personal story. Do you still live in Argentina or, where does it start with Santi? And eventually we'll work our way to where we're at now.
Okay. I really like your introduction because it really connects with my story as well. It's very different. I'm not like Kun, who is a Chinese and lived in Argentina, speaks perfect Spanish, and now is like giving back. I was born and raised in Argentina. When I was, I think, 21, I moved to Rome, and I lived and studied and worked in Rome for like 3 years. And actually, I really love what I'm doing now. And I really love everything that I've done in crypto. But my best job ever was being a tour guide in Rome. I was basically getting paid for biking around the city, telling people why Rome is the best city in the world, right after Buenos Aires. So yeah, that was my job back then. And that's actually when I learned about crypto for the first time. I was studying, I was doing political economy at the university. And one of the guys was like this statistics nerd. And he wanted to use some very weird and complex statistical model that people there taught us to predict the price of Bitcoin. And she was like, oh, this is perfect because if you check the parameters, this really adjusts to the features of Bitcoin and its volatility. I'm pretty sure he failed because I mean, we would have heard of him if he was able to do it, but he was the first getting the Bitcoin idea into my head. And then we started like working on this project. There was a big event in the university, La Sapienza Universidad de Roma, which is the public university of Rome. And it was basically one of these events in which you get like young kids, young students to try to solve problems. And they have to come up with business ideas and they do a presentation and the best pitch wins and goes to the next phase. And eventually there's a winner. And we had to solve the problem of youth unemployment. That was like the problem of that year for these competence. And we were like, okay, so we could do something that's gonna connect people that want to work with people offering jobs, some sort of like gig shared economy style. But then all we had to do was a pitch. And it's very easy to add buzzwords to a pitch. So we're like, okay, we can put just tiny little bit of microcredits. And we can do like triple impact in here. And we can also maybe add blockchain. And that's when I heard about blockchain like seriously for the first time. And when I started studying, I read the Bitcoin white paper in Italian actually. And I went straight into Ethereum and Corda and R3 and Hyperledger because we're focusing on like blockchains for like these business cases. And
with those words, I know exactly, like I could probably pin it down to like the month. You're like what, 2016, 2017?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
early 2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, early 2018. All those names that you mentioned just send me back in time. And yeah, okay, so you're an OG.
I wouldn't say an OG, but I had the hope of changing the world with a pitch, a presentation with that didn't have any tech for this price that we were competing for. Didn't work. We made it to like the second or third phase, but eventually we lost against somebody that had better buzzwords than us. But that's when I got like, like Ethereum bill or blockchain bill. I'm trying to think, okay, this is actually cool stuff. And then it was time for me to come back to Argentina. This is like mid 2018. And I did like a long bike trip. I biked from Paris to the north of Spain, to Santiago de Compostela. And that was like 40 days. And it was a time for me to think about what I wanted to do with my life. It's like, okay, I spent 3 beautiful years in Rome. I ate a lot of pasta, drank a lot of wine, did the bike tour thing, learned about Bitcoin and crypto and everything. Now I'm going back. What am I going to do? And so I started like, going inside myself and stuff. And I figured out I wanted to just do cool stuff with technology. But that's basically all I knew. And then as soon as I landed, I started working like as a business consultant with ERP and then with FAB, like the systems big companies use to, manage their operations, their accounting, their finance, their sales, everything. But I started like going way deeper into crypto, into Ethereum, into how you could do cool stuff. And at some point, I'm from Argentina. I was going back to Argentina. I was living in Argentina and we started having, again, economic problems. Specifically, we had a limit that blocked us from buying more than $200 a month. So you earn your money in pesos. Let's say you earn $1,000 worth of pesos. You spend 500, so you have $500 in pesos that you could save. What people in Argentina would do is they will go and buy dollars. So you could save in a strong currency. Now, that was not allowed. You could buy $200 and then you had to keep the rest in pesos, which basically meant that the next month they would be worth less and less because of the inflation we all know about. And I was thinking, hey, what if I could do something to solve it? What is it that we need to do? And I started thinking about the problem. We're talking about user interviews. So I started thinking, okay, what is the real problem the users have? And then I was like, hey, I don't have this problem because I'm just buying DAI. So if I don't have this problem, then what if instead of building a new solution for this problem, I just try to teach people about the solutions that already exist for this problem? And that's when I started thinking about how to educate more people on crypto. And that's where Solo was born as an idea. And Solo was my first full-on crypto project, crypto startup. The goal was to make learning crypto free, fun, and easy because it was none of that for me. It was free, more or less because I did pay for one little course online, but it was also like very complex and not fun at all. So we tried to do that and we were quite successful with some limits, but when we did have some very good memories of trying to teach that.
Well, Solo is amazing. I checked it out recently. The website is well designed. Like it is very aesthetically pleasing. It looks professional. And I was browsing through all the content and it's very beginner friendly, but it's also deep in the sense that people can be up to date with what's happening and like what matters. And I think it's because something that people often underestimate, and I am mindful that we both speak Spanish natively, but the podcast is in English. Depending on the language, it can be very hard to find quality information. I am sometimes shocked when I look at some of the content that it's being pushed out in Spanish because I'd say like more than 50%, maybe 80%, maybe 90% is just outright scams. They preach on people's vulnerability. They know that there's a big problem in South America with inflation, poverty, but then instead of presenting an actual solution for people to advance themselves, they just scam them. Like it's very predatory in a way. And I understand why sometimes crypto has had a bad rep. So yeah, I think Solo has been like great resources. Like you can tell that the intention is to teach people without trying to extract value and to teach them how to do their own thing. Because I've also seen well-intended teams, but maybe they're trying to like reinvent the wheel. Like, hey, let's not just stablecoin in South America. It's like, well, we don't really have to. What about we get 100,000 people all using USDC or USDT? Like that would probably create a stronger economy locally. And then once everyone is in that blockchain rails, we can do other things. So yeah, it was a really nice project. I heard that you've recently been busy with other things, but I'm very happy that you started it, and I'll be sending it to some Spanish-speaking friends for sure.
Thank you. It was fun because at the time I started, the whole like idea, business model, complete success of the project depended on 1 million people wanting to learn crypto in Spanish. Now I know very clearly that there's no such amount of people that actually want to learn crypto in Spanish. And my approach to onboarding has changed radically. Now I think the best way to approach people is through amazing products that actually solve the problem for people, so they don't have to learn all the complexity uh, to get a decent solution. So my approach has really changed through the years, but I'm very happy that I didn't know all of this. I didn't think about this when we started solo, because it gave us like so much, and it was also very valuable to a lot of people.
Dude, I went back to Venezuela last time, actually, December 2017. And it was the craziest experience because we had this like little crypto startup as well. And the marketing firm that we had in Caracas, they set up this media tour. And the one that I enjoyed the most was going to a bunch of universities and just like presenting to students. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'd just show up and it was like the room was packed. Like, everybody wanted to learn. But what was crazy is I noticed people were like dozing off a little bit in my presentation, and maybe it was a little bit too technical, too idealistic. And when we got to the questions, I realized that people only cared about mining. Venezuela is basically free electricity. They literally only cared about mining. And it was so short sighted. They were like, I just want to mine and like sell it. Like, how much money can I make right now? And I was like, look, like, you're literally mining Bitcoin. Like, it was like $300 back in the day, which is a nice preamble on how Crecimiento as a movement has been able to get started, establish itself, and grow. It's been a relatively short timeline, but it's been amazing progress. So I'll let you keep going with the timeline. You come back from Italy, you start solo.
Yeah, perfect. Like your question fits perfectly on the timeline, because during solo I moved abroad, and I was like nomading basically around the world, at the beginning of Spain, then in different places, and then I went to Connect, and there I was like, oh, what's going on here is really cool. Like pop-up cities are a very interesting way of getting out of smart people to not just talk, share Telegram, and say goodbye, but really like connect and exchange and build relationships. And I was really excited about that. And that's when I actually met the Moon team. And I was like, hey, folks, you should go to Argentina. This is the event I mentioned before that I ended up doing. And I was already planning on going to Argentina for the summer, to stay in Argentina between December 2023 and going back to Berlin in March 2024. That day ended up, pushing itself. March, then April, then I was supposed to go back in May. But the crazy thing is like how everything happened. So during Mo Buenos, the first pop-up city in Latin America in March, organized by the Mo team, which I joined exactly at that moment, Sam from the Mo, the guy I mentioned before, not the one that speaks perfect Spanish, him still needs to work a lot of his Spanish. At some point, he's like, hey, Santi, should we hop on a call? There is these guys that want to talk about us because they also want to organize a pop-up city in Buenos Aires later on, and maybe we could partner to do something together. And that's where I first heard about Crecimiento. That's like my first involvement. I hop on a call. There's James from Architect Systems, who was from Protocol Last back then, and there's also Janine from HVT, who was one of the co-organizers of Susan and Suconnect, who I had met in Turkey. And I was there with Sam from the Mu. I had just joined the Mu team. At this point, wanted to do something really crazy in Argentina. The vision is like very, very simple. Argentina has a unique opportunity to radically transform its economy and put everything on chain, everything on crypto rails. Why? Like there's so many whys to that simple phrase. Argentina is probably the only country in the world that has two things at the same time: bottoms-up adoption and also top-down support. So you have countries like Nigeria or Turkey in which people use crypto, like real people using real crypto for real use cases, but the governments are like, oh, what if we make this illegal? Oh, what if we just put people in jail for doing this? Hey, we don't want to support this. Hey, this is not good for us. Now you also have other countries that are like, hey, let's use crypto, let's do cool stuff, like El Salvador, for example, with Bukele and Bitcoin being legal tender. But then I've been to El Salvador. You go there, you try to pay Bitcoin, and they're like, yeah, sure, we are obliged to do so. we have no idea how to do it. Can you teach us? And they're like open enough and curious enough to be willing to learn, but they have no idea. They're not really using it because they don't need it. Salvador used to have like a dollarized economy that doesn't really need Bitcoin so much as Argentina or Turkey or Nigeria. And Argentina has like both things at the same time. Very interesting political landscape that allows you to experiment and try these kind of things. And also like a super, super strong community, not only with crypto adoption, like this idea of real functional adults using crypto, but also a huge pool, a huge amount of talent. Now, in that call, I was like 100% red pill, orange pill, blue pill, green pill, whatever pill you want to call it. I can say Crecimiento pill about these people with this vision and this idea to seize the opportunity, get everyone together, and push very hard to support crypto entrepreneurs, to support the creation of a new generation of startups, thousands of startups that will create like real solutions, not just like, crypto startups that don't solve any problem, but like real solutions that Argentina desperately needs. So it's a packed up economy. You can help them with crypto. You can do startups, be successful, and transform it completely.
That's a really good framework, because if we, it's very easy to get distracted now with like recent events in the US, but if we place ourselves accordingly in time, there's two very strong trends that I also noticed. The first one was that the places where you had the talent of the capital are not the places where you had the problem. So for instance, you could go to San Francisco, very smart people, shit ton of money. I mean, to be fair, they also have a lot of problems, but in general, different problems. Yeah, in general, you really had to break out of those hubs of innovation to go to the places where crypto had the most potential of solving things, such as Argentina, Venezuela, Nigeria, Turkey. And the other trend is that there was a lot of regulatory uncertainty in the US, even in Europe. Like, they take turns. There's always like a counterbalance. And with El Salvador and Argentina, those seemed like two big hubs, two bastions to defend a range of stuff, including crypto. So I think that Argentina had, or still has, a very good prospect of not only having a real market for users, but also being a jurisdiction where you could innovate. Like, hypothetically, let's say that things went the other way in the US and they went rogue. A lot of founders could have just been like, well, fuck you, I'm in Argentina, like, what are you going to do? So it's a very interesting trend of events that crypto has now entered like a really bullish era in the US. But Argentina was there first. And like, even hypothetically, let's say a lot of projects and founders relocate to the US, they can create a new market or they can devolve existing ones, but in reality, the lowest hanging fruit, like those millions of users that are desperate for a solution, are in South America. You can base yourself in Miami if you want, but if you want 1 million users, come to Crecimiento in Argentina.
I think that's like exactly the point. And it's probably bullish for crypto to see all of these things regarding regulation and a new approach happening in the US. But it's still like transforming the US economy is like quite a massive challenge. And you really need to convince millions of people to use crypto for credit instead of using banking system for credit. And convincing people is usually very expensive. Like, I'm pretty sure if you go and do your credit crypto solution there, you're going to spend a lot of money in marketing to get very little users. Now, in Argentina, you have a situation in which the political landscape is also favorable, and there's a big interest in attracting innovation and technology and experimenting with new solutions. You have a bunch of talent. You also very, very good, like very good place geographically regarding time zones. It's like a pretty good time zone to talk around with
Getting there, oh my god, it's so far.
Getting there is quite a long way. So you better stay long if you can, because yeah, it is a long way. But the thing is that you don't have like good credit solutions in our traditional system. You have a currency that is getting quite better. It was quite better than last year, but it's always at the verge of going to hell, and doesn't have like a really repeatable history in terms of stability. You have people that already know what Bitcoin is, already know what stimulus are, already know why they need them and why they could use them and how to use them. You have like crazy adoption, probably top 3 in the world, like about 10% of Argentina population using crypto. Now, if you want to build something really meaningful, if you want to solve actual problems, we have the problems, we have the talent, we have the people ready to accept new solutions. So this is a unique opportunity. And what we're trying to do with Crecimiento is like, this is the opportunity. Let's go for it. Let's get all together, people from Argentina, but also people from abroad. Let's bring entrepreneurs, builders, hackers, regulation all together into this same place, which is now actually like a physical spot in the middle of Buenos Aires, really cool place where I'm right now talking to you. Let's get all together and let's find the solutions and let's support the startup and let's support the next generation of product that can actually transform the life of millions of people.
Now that you mentioned it, I do recognize that background in. Are you one of the little comment booths? Amazing.
Yeah.
Those get really cold, by the way. How's the temperature right now?
No, and it's actually pretty hot.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Look, you mentioned 3 things that are key. The first one is, and I left Venezuela almost 16 years ago now. There's a lot of stereotypes, but the one thing that most people believe is that all of South America is poor. And it's a big misconception. Like, there's actually a lot of money in South America. Dude, Argentina alone, I don't remember the statistics, but there's like 3 times more US dollars in cash than in the central bank reserves. It's like 80, 90 billion. Like, it's ridiculous. Like the instability in the country has been going on for a long time, but the economy has also been there, and there's private industry, and there's like still tourism. Like, there's just a lot of money going around, but a lot of people that need to find a way to save, and there's a lot of opportunity, despite, traditional challenges. The other thing which is really interesting is the talent. Precisely because now you can work remotely. I would say Argentinians, maybe the Eastern Europeans, they've always been at the forefront of remote work, specifically like technical work. Like, I remember in 2013, I spent 6 months there, and I met engineers working remotely for like Disney and like traditional American companies. So there's always been a very strong talent force, because for over a decade, like, the smartest people just go into that field, and that's like the only way to get ahead. But the third thing is that crypto adoption is real, and it's massive. Like, I remember last year, not even this, last year, you could exchange USDT for pesos in cash, like, anywhere. Anyone could give you a contact. They've got delivery. They bring the cash to you. Like, it's so easy and normalized. You don't have to explain to people what crypto is or anything. Like, it's just easy. Like, seeing USDT mentioned anywhere and as a payment method is normal. So not just Argentina. I'm also in Paraguay. I was there recently. I paid my lawyer. I bought a bunch of stuff, buying real estate with USDT. Like, South America is a massive market, mostly stablecoins, because that's like probably like problem number 1. But it also unlocks a bunch of stuff. Like, I'd like to see people saving stablecoins, access to credit. There's just so much that you can do. So if people have any product and they want to get real users or expand, I think South America would be a great place to do it. And finally, dude, that co-working space is so cool. To start with, the location is perfect because it's like just on the edge of all the really cool Palermo bars and restaurants. So if you walk out and go one way, it's like nightlife and just like great time. But if you walk the other way, it's kind of like chill, residential. There's like a school, a park, and it's open 24/7. I'm really grateful for the people that attended the pop-up city in December. I was there. You guys have given free co-working space all the way through to March. I should be down there sometime in Feb to work with you guys. And it's really nice having the energy of people you see every day. There's some Argentinians as well. They're very warm, very open. In Australia, I could go to the same co-working space for literally a year and see the same people for a year and still don't know their names or what they work on. In Argentina, if you see someone like 2.5 times, even if it's like next to you on a urinal, you kind of know them. And conversations start flowing. Everyone is working on interesting things. We created this like impromptu group. The original name was Eliza's Gangbang, but we had to rename it. Yeah, Agentics now. And there's about 12 people now. Some still in Argentina, a couple of us are traveling, but all working on AI agents. And from that group, they're now having the regular meetups at the Crecimiento headquarters, the co-working space, the AI whisperers. I saw the photos from the first one, hacked room. Shoal from AI16Z was sharing about it. Like, this is what we need. We need community. We need to learn with each other and support each other in building. Like, being a nomad is great, but to me, being a nomad only means you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. It doesn't mean that you have to be moving all the time. To me, it means pack your shit and go to Argentina. Like, it's really the place to be.
I love it. I love it. I 100% agree. And it basically is getting me back to one of your first questions. Like, I ended up staying in Buenos Aires because of everything that's going on. And I had kind of, like, I wouldn't say lost my hope, but I was like, okay, there are many things that are wrong in Argentina and I cannot do anything about it. So I would just go and do my life and I can work wherever I want because I'm in crypto. So I'll be traveling to all these good places. And then when the whole Crecimiento thing started and I heard about it and got involved after that call they mentioned back in March 2024. I was like, shit, I really need to be here. I really want to be part of this. I really want to do like everything I can to make this happen and to make this as great as it could be. So yeah, we started organizing the Aleph pop-up city. The first one was in August last year. It was huge. I've never seen. I've been to many, many events. And yeah, maybe DevCon in Bangkok was bigger, but other from that, I never seen like such a like big event with such a strong energy of builders and people doing cool stuff and different things going on all around the place, all in the center of Buenos Aires, which I love, which was also like pretty fulfilling. And that was like Crecimiento's like first big moment in time where the whole community got together. A lot of like really, really talented people that were, let's say, off the scene, came back again, participated in the talks, in the programming, connecting with the new generations of builders. It was like really, really magical event. We even got like visits from political leaders. Mauricio Macri, former president, was also part of Aleph. He came to visit the hub. We had Demon Raider, one of the main advisors of Millet as well. It was like a combination of everything we've dreamed of. So really super strong kickstart for Crecimiento last year in August. And now one of the best things about that is that we got to keep the hub. So the same place that we use for the pop-up city in August is the place that we use for the pop-up city in December. And it's a place where I'm working from right now in January. And it's a place that we're going to use in our next pop-up city, which is in March. And it's this idea of like little by little, create like more and more support structures to make this vision of helping thousands of builders and startups.
I'm really sad that I didn't go to the pop-up city in August. I was in Paraguay. I went to ECC in Brussels. I just stayed in Europe. I was like, fuck it. I need to go to Asia in November. It's way easier to just go down from Europe than to go back to Argentina and then who knows how to Asia. Like, in my mind, it was just too much traveling. So I just stayed super randomly in Romania, just basically melting down. It was very hot. And then I heard about it and I was like, oh, well, I had no idea that this pop-up city was going to be what it turned out to be. When I heard about the opportunity to attend the next one, I was like, oh shit, it's still a trouble because I came back from Thailand and I was spending Christmas. I spent Christmas with family in Florida. And I went all the way down to Argentina. For context, for people who haven't looked at a map, it's like 10 hours if you fly straight from Buenos Aires to Miami. And I did not fly straight. I flew via Sao Paulo and Panama. I traveled to 24 hours to go from the pop-up city in Argentina to spend Christmas in Florida. But once you sleep off the trauma of all the shitty airplanes, there's only shit airlines in South America. Once you sleep off the trauma, it was worth it. I loved it. And I really can't wait to go back. So yeah, it's amazing to see that that first version was so successful and has led to the subsequent ones. But you mentioned something that I find really interesting. All these talents sort of like coming back home. And there is a saying that I find hilarious. I don't know if you can comment on it. It's like, if you want a project to be successful, get one Argentinian. But if you want it to fail, get two. And I'm not sure to tell you what it means, but what I do know is that there's a lot of Argentinians that have done a lot in Web3 that not many people know about.
And it's a really interesting saying. And I mean, there might be some truth in it. Like, the thing is, when you find Argentinians working on stuff, they're usually like very proactive and very talented and very resilient. And we grew up in economy that has always been shit, and we have been able to survive in this economy. So if you're an Argentinian, you are like 30 years old and you are alive. That means you survive a lot of different things. And but jokes aside, like, it's really difficult to do business and to create value in Argentina with all the different things that we've been having in the last years in terms of economic mismanagements and problems. And that created like a huge amount of resilience to many Argentinians that then like work on different problems and are like, oh, yeah, we can solve this way or this other way. And many Argentinians tend to be very successful abroad. Now, if Argentinians are so talented, then why Argentina is not flourishing? And I think that's the main point of the say. Like, right, you see this Argentinian and he or she is doing great, but then you go to Argentina and things are not going great. Then what's going on? And actually, for a long time, it was like something you could apply to the football team. Like, now we are probably the best in the world. I'm so proud to say it. I'm so happy to say it live. We are the best in the world. We've been for a few years, but before, I don't know if you remember, football fans, 2010, we had like the best goal scorers in all the major leagues in the world, like Italy, France, Spain, and maybe Portugal and England. At the same time, all had like great top goal scorers from Argentina, but then Argentina will go to the World Cup and we get like out in just too early for all of us. Now, we have been comparing and we live our lives through football. So we have been comparing this to what happens with the country. Like, you see all these successful founders and all this talent, and then you hear, oh, the Open Zeppelin guys, oh yeah, Binance, they have Argentinians, oh yeah, the Central, like the first metaverse, Maker DAO with all the Argentinian influence. Now we have Lambda Class and many other projects that Wonder, like many other projects. I could be like the whole episode naming projects. But
It's only
then,
the whole episode.
yeah, like if we get the list, I mean, at least 30 minutes if we get explained a little bit about each. But the thing is, why then Argentina has so many problems? And I don't have the answer to that, but I have an idea of what we need to do to get on the talent and to really, really being able to transform the economy. And I'm pretty sure it's quite aligned with what we're trying to do with Crecimiento.
I've got a theory because there's some similarities with Venezuela. Venezuelans tend to be quite successful overseas. I think it's the same. They just work really hard. They see the opportunity. You know, the Jews call it chutzpah. It's like that initiative to just get ahead because everything around you is just a disaster. So I think that one is good because you've got the drive. I think that the reference to two just signals to that sort of cycle where one thing is having the initiative and wanting to do things, but then if you do things the way that they have to be done, or that the only way that you know how to do them is like the Argentinian way, eventually it collapses. It's like you've got the energy, but you got to put the energy in a regulatory framework, in an economic framework, in a work environment where you can actually get the traction to avoid you from going sideways. And I think that's the excitement now, that not only can we capture and catalyze all that energy in the country, in the continent, I'd say, but that from the top down, there's an opportunity to get the right framework so that the entire country can actually get ahead. I think Argentina is going through a very special moment, but in our timeline, we're almost reaching the pop-up city in December. This was a short one. Run us through it.
Yeah, so December is quite a special month in Argentina because you have Christmas, but also you have like the beginning of the summer. If you want to compare it to like the US or Europe, I don't know so much about Asia, but compared to the US and Europe, it's like just organizing something very big at the end of July, at the very, very end. But you also have Christmas, and it's also the end of the calendar year. So people is like super, super busy. So we're like, okay, let's take this as an opportunity to connect, to get together, to reflect on the first year of Crecimiento, and to set the stage for 2025. That is going to be like fucking amazing. And that's exactly what we did. I'm very happy with the result. When we were like everyone coming together, a lot of people that had been already part of the first pop-up coming back, either in Argentina or from abroad. And and this is, again, is like super, super important for me. Like creating stronger bonds to Crecimiento. We have this idea of supporting a lot of people and getting thousands of builders to do startups. So if they are successful, they can transform the life of millions of people doing cool tech. Now that is really not so easy to do. And the way to do it, the way we're approaching it is like, okay, we need to really empower people so they can start doing their own things and leverage Crecimiento as a platform. So when you organize a big pop-up city like the one we did in August, everyone is like, okay, how can I help? People get like super excited, and we have like 100 people saying, hey, I want to help. How can I want to be part of this. What do you need? Just tell me. And now we're kind of, we're trying to get as much help as we can because we really need it. Like we're trying to do this quite big. But we're also like shifting the approach to, okay, how can Crecimiento help you? So you want to do a hackathon, that's like the next step in your career and community building for your project. It's not like, how can you help Crecimiento do a hackathon? It's like, how can Crecimiento help you do your own hackathon? And this was like the key approach of the December event. And it's also going to be the key approach of our next event in March. It's like, okay, let's get the community to come together and let's get everyone to reflect on how Crecimiento can support you and help you, like the people that are part of the movement, to do whatever you believe in, whatever you want to be seen, built in the world. So then we can get our huge mission. And I think we're pretty successful in that as well. We had like great visits, like great times, and we got everything ready for an amazing 2025.
From the past two pop-up cities, and I guess looking into the one coming up very soon in March, book your flights if you haven't already. Are there like any key areas of things that stand out as, things that people want help with, or maybe some ingredients that Crecimiento can provide to help those teams? And I'm thinking at it as, I'm a free agent, but I'm very active in their ecosystem and I'm starting to collaborate with other ecosystems. And I'm thinking about, okay, if we had to present that question, how can Crecimiento help you? I can sort of start to think about how each one of these ecosystems may want to have a presence or what they'd like to get from expanding in the region. But I'm curious what the experience has been from the organizer team in the last two ones, and maybe how you're approaching it for the next one.
Okay. I think that's a like a very, very interesting question. And there's like many possible approaches to reply to that because there's many stakeholders. Like if you are like, Crecimiento is, first of all, like a shining point. We talk about Crecimiento as a movement because we want it to be like this big umbrella where a lot of different communities, people, ideals, and belief all converge because we have like this shared vision and we have the shared belief that we can transform Argentina through crypto and tech startups. Now, beyond that shared belief, there's like so many different communities and environments, and they are all engaging with Crecimiento in different ways. And that's why this discovery phase and this big message we try to send out during ALF de Verano in December, our summer edition, is like, hey, let's think deeper about how we can help you do that. And let's think deeper about how people, different stakeholders with different needs and goals can benefit from it. Now, if you're like a large ecosystem, you will find a lot of builders, a lot of talent, a lot of like nation startups in Crecimiento. And that's like a great place to go in and, hey, here I am. How can I help you guys building for the future of Argentina? And then we get like more help for startups for trying to support. And also like the big ecosystems get like better access to the startups. Now,
Yeah.
if you're a builder, you can just come to the hub and just get crazy ideas, meet fantastic people, get exposure, give people exposure to your products or to the things that you want to do. If you are like a community that is working on education, you can just come and do your stuff in the hub, and we can just help you like reach more people. And maybe you're a university and you have the people because you have thousands of students, but you want to give them like great crypto education. So we can either help you with that or connect you with the communities that are looking to have more reach. So in the end, it's like there's no one single answer. There's like it's like a shining point, just like a fucking market. You come and you will find most likely what you're looking for the next step.
Yeah, guys, that's one thing. And I spoke to a friend yesterday. He's leading a project, and he's trying to find a way to get the budget to go to East Denver. And he's like, "There's value there. It's just it's being hard to communicate." And I was like, "Well, I can see how it's hard to get the budget if some of these conferences are just like one big party. And by the end of the conference, you're like, well, I caught up with my friends that I see all over the world many times a year. Like, that was my frustration last year. I was like, why have I spent so much money to see the same people in all these places? And it actually gets worse because the better you get to know all these people, you hang out together. So you're actually becoming more isolated from like other attendees. And the thing that really got to me was there was just no one, the local community. Like I didn't see a single Thai person in any event in Thailand that wasn't working at the venue. And that's one thing that I like about Crecimiento in Argentina. It is Argentina first. It is overwhelmingly Argentinians. And I started to notice a few things that I liked that were different. So, for instance, I think Sit Latam and maybe a couple of organizations, they have scholarships for students. I met students from Bolivia. I met students from Costa Rica. Some of them was the first time they left the country. Like they had to get a passport to attend. The Bolivian ones came with their ID that didn't even have a passport. And, from talking to them, they were like, yeah, at my university, like people thought crypto was a joke. They didn't really understand, like they presented the opportunity to them so they could also apply it. It was dismissed. And that's when you start to realize, okay, so first point, we're getting old. Crypto doesn't have product market fit. Like the younger people that are studying computer science don't give a fuck. Big red flag. Like we need to do something different to reach the talent that we need. The second point is it doesn't take much to give someone the opportunity. Dude, they were hacking the hardest. If you walked around the venue that weekend of hacking at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, they were the only ones there. Maybe understandably, everyone else had a home in the city. Maybe they just
Yeah.
moved home or whatever. But the point is, there's a lot of things that you can do to get the local community involved. That has about, even telling me, hey, pay a shit ton of money for the same people to come to Argentina and party, maybe not as valuable. Oh, when you have the value proposition of no, we actually have a local community of builders, users, and of talent, that starts to differentiate it. Uh, I would even go as far as to say that it's a launch pad to the region. You can have your presence in Argentina and operations in many different countries. I met the people from Ethereum Uruguay. Dude, I loved it. I don't know if this is going to be controversial, if you're going to just get up and leave, but aren't Uruguayans the best people in the world? Like they're just so friendly and so
Cool
chill.
people, yeah, 100%
And
agree.
even though there's like four of them, they're doing remarkably well. Like very, very strong technical talent. Suspiciously, Instagram started showing me ads about relocating to Uruguay as a digital nomad. Like they're doing a lot to attract and grow the industry.
Yeah, and the team from Ethereum Uruguay is doing like a really, really cool job. Uruguay is a great country in terms of attracting talent. They have like many different policies put in place, and many Argentinians in tech like moved to Uruguay, relocated there because the culture is like very, very similar. When I was a kid, I couldn't tell if like football players were from Argentina or from Uruguay because they will speak the same. Like you wouldn't notice really if you compare to Buenos Aires at least. So yeah, very similar culture, great like tech policies. So really, really nice place to be. I just came back from Uruguay yesterday, by the way. I've been there for the first time in my life. Really beautiful. I didn't know it was so nice. And so big cheer for the team of Ethereum Uruguay. They were also quite involved and helping us with different things. We will work together in a lot of stuff. And it's so close and so similar. That's 100% worth it.
I am a proud resident of Paraguay now. I'm actually going back in a couple of weeks. And I got a little FOMO because, Paraguay is amazing. Not going to say anything bad about Paraguay, but I haven't met any crypto community there. And, no biggie. It's all very close. Like, to me, the way that I see it, for me to go from Asunción in Paraguay to Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Floripa, Uruguay, even Peru, Chile, it's about the same as flying from Melbourne to any other Australian city. Like, I have gotten used to being very far and very isolated to many things. And, you can get on a plane and travel for like maximum 2 hours. yeah, sure, you're technically in a different country, but to me, it's like I don't see myself isolated to Paraguay. So I'm actually really excited to go to East Floripa as well. I think it's coming up. I got to check the dates. It was meant to be in Feb, but they've changed it now. Everything happening in Uruguay. I heard they have some great plans down there. Yeah, I'm excited.
Sure, sure. I'm so actually like Solo's first employee is Pumbi. He's from Paraguay. He's in Asunción. He came to Buenos Aires like 3 times a year. He cannot come farther because otherwise, his wife's gonna get very mad with him. But I'm happy to connect you afterwards. He's a really, really great guy.
That would
I
be
don't know
amazing.
some isolated people doing good stuff in Paraguay, but they weren't able yet to found such a strong community. And I think that kind of brings us back to some of the things we were saying before. All the big problems that Argentina has. It's not just like we have the like talented people or like education or people used to working remote, like you mentioned before. It's also that we actually need the solutions that these people are building. So it's like great combination of like you have a quite educated society with a lot of tech talent, but you also have like massive economic problems. So that creates like this set of amazing solidity devs somehow that are like doing all this stuff and are working in different projects since the beginning of crypto basically. And the thing is that now we also have the regulatory landscape. So I really like your definition of like a launchpad. Like if you want to do stuff in Argentina, if you want to come to Argentina to either meet the builders, to either meet the regulators, to either meet the startups or the companies, which use the hackers, like whatever stakeholder you want to connect with, like Crecimiento is a great place to be. And I just really like what you said about like being Argentinians first. We're always very happy to receive people from abroad, and thank you for taking all those long distance flights to visit us. Like it really makes us super happy to get people coming so far to see this with their own eyes. But also, we're also like pretty proud that you can have a conference with 80% or 90% Argentinians. You have like 300 people coming every day to a co-work, and it still is like super talented people, super like high value people doing high value things, high value startups, products, ideas, and something that made me personally very proud. There's a lot of like many like success cases. The guys from Costa Rica, they're actually working for now from one of the Crecimiento startups. That's like one great case. We had a few people sharing some other stories a few days ago. Like really many of them. Some projects that were part of the startup track that we organized in August were like, hey, we came here and we got in 1 week the same results that we would have gotten in 2 months of work in terms of like clients, growth, developing ideas and connections. So that's like really, really strong signal for us that there's product market fit or community market fit or product community fit for whatever we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I guess that for people that are not able to travel to Argentina, it's just fast. I tried to find a way to convey it because I've had the opportunity, the privilege to go to so many things recently. So many things come out of these pop-up cities. Like for instance, Thailand was the first, well maybe the first one that I saw with my own eyes. The ZK city. They had the entire building. It was workshops back to back. There was like close to 100 researchers and people working on things. Then there was a ZK workshop in Argentina. And I think they're organizing one in Costa Rica. Like, you don't have to stay there all the time. What's amazing is that all this progress that is achieved in these locations, even if nobody ever hears about it, the products go out into the world so anyone can use. And the amazing thing is that all the growth that happens in one location, like let's say everyone is using a similar tech stack, could be Ethereum, a layer two, could be a younger blockchain to probably notice the impact even more. That growth is also kind of global. Like what I'm trying to convey is, I think there should be almost like a race to see which ecosystems are able to have a presence in Argentina, because the growth and the traction that they can get there, like starting in March, could very well be 50% or more of their fucking jerk off metrics by the end of 2025 when they try to pretend they're not a dead chain. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you need to go where the opportunities are. And Dude, everyone is trying to pretend that they're an American blockchain now, and I'm like, what the fuck does it even mean? But like, it's strange. I'm like, let's just keep our eyes on the users and the product, and it's a global marketplace. Like there's so many opportunities out there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think that's a very strong point. Whatever you are able to find, try, and roll in here, it's gonna have a huge impact in everything else. It's not, and when we're talking about crypto, it's not that you're selling shoes or pizza, and you can send pizza only to Buenos Aires. Like if you're able to find a product that's gonna work in Buenos Aires, you get like special regulatory conditions. You get like big community of testers and people that need your stuff. You get like a lot of talent to draw from to build whatever you want to build. If you make that work, if you find actual solutions, if you onboard like good builders into your ecosystem here, that's gonna have like a massive impact all over the world. And something that I really like about what we're building here is that I think we have like a pretty solid chance. I wouldn't say 95%, but more than 50% of actually converting Argentina into the first like real crypto nation, which is not just accepting Bitcoin as legal currency, because like technically El Salvador will always be like the first crypto nation because they adopted Bitcoin or whatever. But you could really make Argentina the first place in the world that's actually leveraging crypto to transform its economy. And if we get that to happen, then guess what? So many countries in the world are gonna be like, that's actually interesting. And you might really start getting like this deepening little by little with different countries are like inspired by what's going on here. And then of course, like the projects that have engaged the most are the ones that are gonna have like a very strong early advantage in that sense. So I think there's like a huge opportunity for everyone here in Argentina.
Dude, my dad studied in Canada way back in the day, and then he went back to Venezuela. And he always tells this story of he worked with like hospital equipment and stuff as an engineer. He arrived at a hospital, he was doing his thing, and then when he was walking out, some of the maintenance people called him up and they were like, hey, like, can you come and help us? Like, we've got this massive machine that we just don't know what it is. So he goes to check it out and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, I've seen this before. In Canada, it was a snow removal machine, like a big tractor removal machine. And my dad was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? It's like whatever hot Argentina, Buenos Aires is right now, that's like that 24/7 in Venezuela. And the story was back in the day when Venezuela had money and it had oil, the governor of the state went to the US, I think somewhere north, and he saw this like new hospital, like modern. And he's like, call the architects, whatever. I want to build the exact same hospital, everything, the exact same. We'll pay for it up front, all everything, the equipment, and they sent the fucking air, removal machine.
Hey, I love it.
So that can be a weird analogy to show how South America works. But also I can see that happening with a lot of things. So the world's eyes in Argentina now for a lot of policy around inflation and maybe some government efficiency. But I think that something very similar to the weird snow removal machine story could happen. The more Argentina goes into that, crypto nation and it starts to open opportunities and to prove people what is possible, you're going to have more countries or regions or even just like small councils be like, hey, we want to do it the same. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel. No, I'm not going to try some fucking shitty new blockchain. We'll just do the same tech stack. Or we'll do something very similar. Like, we just want the results. And that's what we'll have to understand. Like, we're at the stage of the market now where we can play around and fuck around. Once something hits, it just replicates. Like, you don't want to be in the play around and fuck around stage forever. That's a challenge we have in crypto. We've been playing around and fucking around for way too long. Now we need real products, real, like, more stability, so to speak, and growth in a more conventional sense. So I think it's really exciting that Argentina can provide that potentially. And yeah. Okay, I think we're getting close to the pop-up city in March. I don't know if you want to comment something else on the weird snow removal machine. But after that, let us know what we can expect. How can people get involved? We're ramping up here.
Awesome. I like the momentum growing. I really like the story of the snow removal machine. I think that's like pretty solid analogy of how things work in the world, and the fact that actually making this happening could have in the world. And that's why I think it's so important. Like, you probably, if you've been listening so far, you know that I'm like super biased, maybe like top 10 most biased people in the world about this and everything that's going on in here. But like honestly, like, we've been doing crypto for so long, and I don't to too many people that were like, yeah, when I started like 7 years ago, I was expecting that by 2025 things would be different. We'll actually have more use cases than DEX and fancy DeFi and maybe some identity stuff and of course meme coins. And and I was going through a very similar phase before I went into my and to connect, and then I met people from the MU and they came to Buenos Aires, and I started like seeing the value in everything that was going on in this like way of building community and building long-term relationships. Really, we have like massive opportunity. If there was like this tweet Twitter post some years ago, and they were like, "Hey, crypto has a lot of money. If we all just get together and buy a country, and you just make like super fun stuff with crypto there, wouldn't that be cool?" That was like very controversial for many reasons. But the thing is that we really have a chance to experiment and explore with a country that is perfect for experimentation and exploring in crypto. It is happening. Like, you don't have to go yourself and kickstart something crazy and revolutionary. Like, the crazy and revolutionary ideas have already been seeded, planting like thousands of people that see this and are like, hey, we can actually make it. So it's basically up to us. If I wouldn't say the whole crypto, but 10% of crypto agrees that this is something that is worth like committing to and working towards, we can really make a huge change. And that's not gonna be good for Argentina. It's gonna be great for Argentina. I would be like the happiest person in the world for sure. But it's also gonna be so fucking good for crypto and for the world. Like, what I would say is like, we are trying to transform Argentina, crypto, and the world, because it's literally step by step. The sandbox, everyone seeing the value of crypto and implementing new stuff, and then the world working in a very different way, and actually like realizing the utopian vision that we all had when we were hippies joining crypto. So I think that's like huge opportunity we have here.
That's an interesting observation because depending how young you are, you may have entered crypto. I'd say the last two big waves veered away a little bit from that, like idealistic hippie vibe, NFTs and meme coins. I get it, they're fun. There are casinos, some people are making money, most are losing money. But they may be inadvertently limiting people's imagination of what's possible. Like, for instance, I think that governance and crypto have a lot of potential. I know it had a lot of challenges, but AI introduces like a new flavor to it. So once again, like, to me, governance and AI are going to be like one of the hardest things this year because AI can potentially solve a lot of the limitations before. And then you just have to ask the question, like, which markets or customer segments could really benefit from this governance? Like, in innovation, you always got to find who is feeling the pain the strongest, and they are the most likely to try it first. If you try to implement something somewhere where people just don't really have a need for a product, they're never going to switch. Like, your early adopters are the people that are fucking desperate for change. So that would be an example of an entire vertical that could have like immense potential. Dude, we could set up like an AI governance research unit like Crecimiento or partner with a local university. Like, there's probably unlimited people in the country that would be passionate about it because they've been struggling with that area for so long and they've seen so many ways in which it could go wrong that even the smallest levels of efficiency that the tech can give them would move the needle. And that's just one example. I know that the Kledos team, shout out to the Kledos team and what's his name? Juan Samitier, I think.
Yeah.
They're doing great. They're doing a dispute resolution, some experiments there. They're in contact with local councils. They're in contact with Mercado Libre, which is like the biggest marketplace in South America. And they've got some good statistics. Like, they've got some good results. Like, once again, is it like the ultimate solution? No. But are they making progress in the right direction? Yes. And the only reason why they haven't died is because there is a lot of demand in that region. Like, if they were based in Zug, they would have shut down years ago. So I think that like one example. And yeah, I think that maybe like the Trump coin would also start to open up people's imagination, because it's not just like one person's coin. To me, like it sent me back to the early days of crypto about tokenization and what happens if you can tokenize anything. Like imagine companies being able to tokenize their shares, or imagine us being able to launch like stable coins for each region so that the economic growth of a region can be distributed differently. Maybe something about the taxation of a country, maybe something about the money issuance. Like, I think it was like a big marketing stunt to get people's attention in that area. But I think it's just the beginning of what can be done. So yeah, I'd like to think that we can bring back that idealistic and creative era. If you are a person that enjoys that sort of like creative cycle and trying out many things, Crecimiento is shaping up to be like that perfect incubator. And maybe you can touch on some of like the other qualities other than the community and like the country. I know that you guys are talking about having sandboxes. There's a founder school now. There's a lot of different components that are shaping up to really push things forward.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I like to add something on what you were saying. I think it's really on point. And then I go into more detail about what's going on with Crecimiento. But there's this very famous interview from Bill Gates, like maybe 30, 35 years ago, like really long ago, it's on TV. And he's talking in this very famous program, which is like very cool interviewer, who is like the typical, late night show in the US, and it's really cool and making everyone laugh. And and he's just like, okay, everyone heard about internet, but what can you actually do with internet? And Bill Gates like, all fired up. Oh, actually, you know what? Just yesterday, we were able to transmit a baseball game. I'm pretty sure it was not football. I don't know what it was. They were some sport game through internet to all the world. And the interviewer is like, does radio ring a bell? And then everyone's laughing, and Bill Gates like, yeah, but it's different. Okay, tell us how it's different. And nobody could actually see the value of it being different. And Bill Gates, like, he was very clear, like he's Bill Gates, but he was also struggling to see to show them the potential of doing different stuff. And I think we're still in that moment for crypto. The thing is that in Argentina, you see many such cases of some of those things actually providing different value to what the existing solutions provided. The clearest example is really, really great. It's being used for the course of Mendoza, which is one of the biggest provinces in Argentina. It's like a literal, like it would be like a state in the US. Imagine like a state adopting Kleros for dispute resolution in their like justice mechanisms. And that's actually really, really huge. There's also like this guy and raise money for like different causes, just like a big influencer. And he's like, hey, there's like fires in the north of Argentina. What can we do to help? So he starts like raising money from random people on Twitter and Instagram. And he even saved like a football club that was going bankrupt. And he's like, hey, we need to save this football club because it's too important for Argentinian football. So let's raise some money. And he raised like millions of dollars just out of Twitter and Instagram and, going to the TV and everything. And he's actually very interested in like building a DAO and building something that's more transparent because he got like a lot of accusation. Hey, this dude is getting the money. Hey, where can I see what's actually going on with these funds? Hey, I would like to have a say on where the money is going. Have you heard of maybe quadratic funding or something like that? There's like really more and more opportunities for this kind of thing that will be the typical Bill Gates interview replies going on.
See, but that's why I still say I'm like a product person, growth, intersection of product, marketing, community, because I mean, I did do a very brief product management course, but I really like dissecting like how markets change and what makes product grow and like how do they meet the users. And what you mentioned is so interesting because people didn't really appreciate what small changes could make. Like for instance, Netflix now, they release the whole season and people binge through series. Like, dude, I started watching one called Lock and Key last weekend on a Saturday. My entire Sunday was gone. Netflix fucks me up. Like, they cracked it. They know that if people binge watch it and everything, they've got a little button at the bottom. It starts immediately the next episode. You can skip the introduction. Like, everything has been optimized for you to consume. And the Netflix thesis was very simple. The more that we can get people to binge consume stuff, the more demand for content there is. We've got the data on what people like and what they don't like. Now we become the producers of content. And I guess that's my point. Like, you captured really nicely. If you are the kind of person that likes to think outside the box, because, in this case, the box is you get a job and you go and you do what you're told and you get paid at the end of the month. Nothing wrong with that. Most people do that. But if you like to think about how things could be differently, if you look at things and think, oh, maybe if you tweak it and your mind goes in a rabbit hole and before you know it, you're like 19 layers deep, dude, you need to surround yourself with people that think that way. And the only way to do that has been to go to conferences, and sure, there are some panels and you always learn things and you meet people, but it's kind of limited. Like, I always get like this post-conference depression. Dude, Brussels was brutal. I loved it. Everyone loves shitting on the conference. I loved it. I was staying like very close to the city center. It was a historical European village. Dude, within walking distance, you could go to 3, 4, 5 events. Like, it was amazing. It was like the entire city was just for the crypto people, as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
And I met some great people, some great friends. It's fucking heartbreaking that past a certain day, Brussels goes back to being its traditional shithole. Everyone's go back to the home countries, and you're like, oh, I don't have any friends. Okay. I don't even have any close. Like, where do I go now? And I ended up in Romania, of all places. So yeah, I think that pop-up cities are great because they extend that period of collaboration. Dude, I fucking love being in a room of people, no agenda, or maybe whatever, you watch a workshop, which gets the creative juices flowing. Someone asks a question, you're like, well, I kind of see where they're getting at. And, that's the value for me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree on the value of like extending the period of time and surrounding yourself with those kind of people. And it's actually interesting because like pop-up cities are like the evolution of conferences somehow. And now you see many pop-up cities organizers, like including Crecimiento as a pop-up city organizer, even though it's a movement with different goals, expanding on that. And it's like, okay, what if we do something long-term? And I was about to say this before, but then I got lost with my own stories. But the thing I really like the most about Crecimiento is I've been in crypto for a while and quite connected to different people in the ecosystem. And, this guy's doing this and this guy's doing this other thing and this guy's doing this other thing. And they were all my friends. And at some point, I come in running late to a meeting or something like that. And I look up and I see like a whiteboard and I see all these different people, which I knew from like different moments and different places working together. I couldn't even understand what they were doing. It was like very hardcore DeFi stuff. I was like,
Was that
oh, wow,
one?
this is
I saw a whiteboard.
Yeah,
I was like on a laptop, like in front of them with my headphones on. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? That looks intense. And they look very serious, too. Like,
Yeah.
incredible.
Some of those people are actually in trouble because they now have to like make tough choices because they came up with actually two good of ideas. So yeah, it was like really, really fulfilling to me to see that. And that's why pop-up cities are so important. And that's why pop-up cities have been such a strong ingredient in like the Crecimiento flavor. But I think now it's a good time to go back to your previous question. I expand a little bit of everything we're doing and we're working on right now after you got the timeline. So basically, the first thoughts of Crecimiento were in February, in Denver, actually. I heard about it in March, in the Muy Buenos pop-up city, and that's where I got involved. And basically, like from late April, we started working on actually giving shape to Crecimiento. There was this like virtual summit with 100 plus people online commenting on different Argentinian products and things that were going on in the place. There was also like this huge community that tracks from very early on, like 2018, 2017, like Ethereum BA, one of the first Ethereum hackathons organized around the world, was in Argentina, the Walter House, like many cool stories about the Argentinian community. And for me, also the pop-up city trend, for me, all came up together. And at that point, it's like this typical movie, this typical film in which you have like different characters, different stories, and they all meet up in the final scene. It was like these conversations in February about the Argentinian opportunity and very specific like situation. Then you had like other Argentinian community getting together and doing cool stuff for so long. You had like the Moo and the pop-up cities and the event in March where I met all these people. And then you also have like pop-up cities as like a wider trend, starting from Susanoo last year and then Suconnect and then some other pop-up cities. Everything coming together in April, big pop-up city in August, another pop-up city in December, and now we have this pop-up city in March. But there's like way more things to Crecimiento than the pop-up cities. Our vision is to like literally transform the life of millions of people, give them financial prosperity through great crypto products. And that's the only way we can do that is by like getting thousands of startups. If we get thousands of startups, many of them will die, many of them will fail, but 20 to 30 being like very successful is already enough to transform the country. Like the financial prosperity we want to bring to these millions of people, we want to do it through 20, 30 very successful startups, like Lemon or Mercado Libre or some other like more well-known examples that can actually transform things in people's life. And those things are the big economic progress that we have in credit, in access to capital, in establishing companies, in like building value and retaining value, in like financial transparency and financial freedom. All different verticals, we have like 10 of them that can be really, really, really improved with crypto. If we get one, two, or three successful startups in each of them, then we're transforming the country. And that like goes into three big goals. The first one is to take like 10 to 15 million people on chain with great products. So we don't want to just launch an NFT or like a Trump meme coin to get millions of people on chain. We want
Millet meme coin.
I'm pretty sure somebody has already done it. I'm pretty sure.
Someone there.
Yeah,
The crazy hair.
I mean, it will be pretty successful for sure. I don't know if it's gonna get like the many billions of market cap that Trump got in like hours, but it will be pretty successful. That's like something that will probably get a lot of people interested into crypto or at least alert. It also has like this big series of risks, many risks, but it's an idea.
Yeah. Not a priority. Not a priority.
I mean, it's there. People listening to this can do whatever they want with the idea you brought it up. It's there.
But if you do, insider, please. Podcasts still make money. GM us. I'll invest early.
Yeah, awesome. Just let us know if you're gonna launch it, and let us know early on. But yeah, that's like that big goal of like taking people on chain with real products. So our vision is like if we get like 10 products, sorry, like big products, each of them gets like 1 to 2 million users, then you get these numbers. That's like what the numbers represent. And to get these successful products, we need to make the startup and 10 ecosystem 10x larger and stronger. And that's like our second goal. So bringing a lot of people on chain with your products, making stronger and bigger startup tech and crypto ecosystem in Argentina. But we also want these people to build value here and retain the value here. We don't want the founders to leave to other places, to invest their money in other places. We don't want them to give stock options to somewhere, anywhere else in the world. We want all that value to be reinvested in Argentina to create this cycle of innovation, technology, and capital that you see in other economies like Singapore or the US being probably the biggest example. And to do that, to get that, we need to work very closely with the regulators. We want to have the regulators provide further stability for the founders, the tech founders, the tech builders that are going to create massive amounts of wealth and value. We want them to have like a stable regulatory framework so that they can keep their value here and reinvest it and accelerate the cycle of growth and innovation. So there is three goals: on chain, bringing people on chain with great products, massive growth in tech and startup ecosystem, and then supporting regulators to provide a better framework. Those are the three goals of Crecimiento that are going to bring prosperity to millions of people, as I already mentioned, like maybe too many times. How to
No, I love it. So that's what sort of convinced me that Crecimiento was worth paying attention to and contributing to. And I remember there was a slide. I took a bunch of photos, and all the photos were shit because the wall and the projector. The content is up here, friend. it was like a funnel, awareness, education. Like there's a very clear understanding of what it takes to grow something, opportunity and the challenges. I see a lot of communities, they're like missing, it's like a three-legged stool that doesn't have a leg or something. I almost said something horrible, amputees. Um, you know, you need a lot of pieces together for something to work. And what I like is that Mercado Libre literally translates to free market. And I think I listened to a podcast with one of the founders who went to like Harvard Business School. It's a great example of that mix between maybe like a foreign Western education, capital, met people there, and then a very acute understanding of the local problem, turn it into an opportunity, and then technology solves that problem. What I like about the way that you describe things is that I see two trends. The first one is understanding that technology is a way to like move forward and how to grow a tech ecosystem. And the second one is that the choice of technology is like Web3 or blockchain, or at least a component of it. Like it just fits really well for the nature of the country. But it's not crypto for crypto's sake. Like if you go to a lot of Web3 events, kind of entertaining at first, but then kind of a little bit tiring because everyone's a little bit crazy. Like I love conspiracies as much as anyone else, but you sort of realize like these people are never going to fucking build anything. They have some bags of something. If they got lucky, it's worth money. That's all their money they're ever going to make. Like they're just not thinking in terms of like building value in a traditional sense. And it reminds me of way back in the day when the government of Victoria, the state that I used to live in, they had all these incentives, and Slack and a few other like big American companies opened headquarters in my city, Melbourne. I went to a few events. It was a lot of events back in the day, and a local entrepreneur was all pissed off, and he asked the Slack lady, like, "Why the fuck did our government give you guys a bunch of money to come here when we don't get any support?" And she was like, "Well, like, it wasn't free money. There's a very explicit understanding, and we're here actually holding up our end of the bargain. Our commitment is that every single local employee, and we only hire locally, when they leave our company, they will be a better like employee, or they can even go on and become founders. Like they're bringing up the standards of excellence, and the understanding explicitly is come and play here. We'll make it easy for you, but our tech ecosystem has to grow. We want to go from 100 crack devs to 1,000 operating at SF level. And we want to go from employees to other founders. Like that's the sort of vision that I saw that the Crecimiento team implicitly or explicitly understands. That's what I see about all these Argentinian founders from around the world coming back home, even if seasonally. And that's what I see about all the people that are getting excited about the opportunity. Like they want to level up. They have understanding of one thing. Maybe they've got technical skills. Maybe they have no fucking idea what they're doing, but they can sense that ability to grow as a person. It's not a mediocre thinking, I came for the free beer or the free food, or I want to trade fucking shit coins. It's people that really want to level up. And that's why I love the what's it called, the Grass Paper Capital program. I love the Founder School. I love that people show up, even if I actually find out that they're pretty cracked. People show up with a beginner mindset and they're there to learn. You know what I like the most that I have not seen in many places? Dude, there's zero blockchain tribalism. Someone that was introduced to me as an Ethereum maxi OG, like half his dick is like ETH from like the first block. Open 100% to learning about a new blockchain, a new tech stack. Going, sitting down, humble as fuck to learn about AI. Just curious about what people are learning, and curious as in how can I help you? No one see it as a threat. Oh, you're going to come here with your new tech stack and threaten my backs. Zero. Like everybody just wants to help each other. It's like, yeah, it's nice. Trust me. Come to Argentina.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for like keeping inviting people. And it's great to like hear all this great feedback from you and know more about your story as well. I think there's like that's pretty unique as well. Like it's a very open community. It's and like people focus more on the development of crypto in general. Of course, there's a lot of Ethereum funds, but there's also like funds from other blockchains, and you have like big supporters from many different ecosystems within the Argentinian or Crecimiento ecosystem itself. And there's always been like this very strong commitment to share ideas and to talk and to say like, hey, okay, this is like Avalanche event or Solana event or Ethereum event. And well, we go and you see people from all the blockchains and learning it. Polkadot already has on like a lot of things in in Buenos Aires, and now they are just like CK Sync, for example, being a super strong supporter, Optimism also like having a lot of traction. But it's really, really interesting. There was also like a very strong near community a few years ago. Now it's not so strong, so maybe that's something you got
I am trying to bring it back. Look, it's not easy. And I'm sure you've heard, maybe you haven't. There's some drama right now on the Ethereum community, which I think it's beautiful. It's like a thriller Netflix series unfolding one tweet at a time. Near had a similar situation maybe a year ago. It was handled much more swiftly and maybe more diplomatically. Like I'm sure that behind the doors there was like a lot of blood and drama. But anyway, long story short, the Near Foundation CEO at the time was removed, or she stepped down, and one of the Near co-founders, Ilya, came into the foundation as the CEO. And our experience has been that you need that strong leadership and vision. Like he knows what he wanted to build from day one. It's a very long roadmap. It's very complex analogy that builds upon itself. And it's been a full year of like realignment and like just trying to bring everyone together. And if you don't want to be on this path, you can fuck off as well. Like, so it's been hard because community is the last thing that you align. First, you align like the foundation internally, like the 40-60% of the people were kicked out. Then you have to align all the ecosystem nodes, all the partnerships, start tracing a lot of shit that may no longer be, you know, in the right direction. And then you start planting the seeds for all the new things. You know, there's new branding, there's new like verticals, there's people spinning out with new initiatives. And I think that once you have everything in place, then they can be the call to action to the community like, hey, this is what we're doing. Like it is clear what we're doing. If you want to learn, you go here, if you're already building. So I think that community is going to have that renaissance in 2025. It was just hard in 2024 to get support for anything because it was a lot of transition stage. So yes, I'm pushing hard. The person that I've been speaking with, I think, has been in touch with you guys or they've spoken in the past. So yeah, I really hope that they listen to this, that they get excited about it as I am. And yeah, I think that was worth mentioning as well because there's been a lot of like nomad visas and a lot of nomads in general, I think, getting burned out from moving so frequently. A lot of us want to find a quasi permanent home, and Argentina is looking real good.
yeah, being there, got tired of nomading as well, and I was super happy to like find a perfect moment to come back to Argentina and to stay here. I'm built from here and all the value that this community provides. It's also super cool. I think it's also like good moment to maybe do a little layover of everything that's gonna happen in the next months and year. So when we talk about our three goals,
Alpha.
well, I mean, I don't know if I have like so much alpha. This is a good opportunity as well to push you to our Twitter because most of this has already like been announced or explained in Twitter. So if you want to go to Twitter, it's Crecimiento R. Just you will find like all the details in there. But you know the goals already. We talked a lot about why Argentina. That's super important to me to stress out and thank you for all the help like making the points in there. Now, how do we reach these very ambitious goals that we have that will transform a country? Like there are like two big areas of focus. One is like working with regulators are providing value and understanding and working on like new frameworks that can help the creation of value. And we presented like right after a led last year a multi-agency regulatory sandbox together with the Argentinian FinTech Chamber, and that's right now under review. And we got like very positive feedback, but that's like a special sandbox that projects can apply to do like crazy stuff. And basically gives the opportunity to projects to experiment with things that otherwise they wouldn't be able to with current regulation. And it's also a very good opportunity for regulators to learn from projects and for the results that they can have and the impact that the things that these tech crazy crypto bros can have on the on the economy and on different aspects. And now we're also working on like something that's bigger and more long term. And there's like very strong legal team working in this, like connecting with regulators and different stakeholders in Argentina. But the idea is to come up with special economic zone that's gonna allow a lot more of the value that Argentinians can create to stay here. And it's also gonna be like a great framework for people from all over the world to come in, invest, stay, relocate, move in, basically build a new super strong hub for tech and crypto specifically. Now, this is a huge project with many stakeholders involved, and we're gonna start like sending more updates again on Twitter and everything. And I'm not the legal expert; like I'm really not so well versed into the legal
That's
aspects.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
That is massive. And for anyone that's ever dealt with like legal stuff knows how important having those like receptive regulators, those conversations are. I remember back in the day, and unfortunately, I do happen to have wasted 7 years of my life getting a law degree. There were many conversations around like Innovation Australia. It was like a group doing a lot of research and a lot of lobbying. And dude, even in a advanced economy like Australia, there were so many recommendations of things that were holding back the industry. And there were even things like the tax treatment of equity. It was something like they basically had to pay tax on it when it was given to you, even though it was not liquid, and most likely the company was going to go to zero. So a lot of employees basically ended up saying like, "Don't give me that shit. Like, I'm
yeah.
actually worse off." And in the 70% of cases or more that the company goes offline, it may be true. But in the handful of cases where the company does remarkably well, you're fucked. Like that was your ticket to generational wealth. You want to capture that growth.
Yeah, when people think about like special economic zones, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, no taxes for the rich people to do crazy things. Oh, you want to start like crime season, doing meme coins and whatever, and just getting like a free passport to do whatever you want. And 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 it's really not really like about that. It's more like about the little details that make a huge difference that maybe most people don't even know about. But it's something with the stock options. We had something very similar in Argentina with a precedent for like some startups that had to give like massive stock options to employees that join the company super late. But since they have like a similar role to the people that were very early on, they had to compensate in the same levels of equity, which doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. Like if you're the marketing guy with a company with 4 employees, it's not the same as if you're the marketing guy with a company of 200 employees, and the value of the company is very different. So then people stop using stock options in Argentina. And that's very bad because you get the founders, they make a lot of money, the VCs as well. What about all the early employees? Those people could become angel investors or founders themselves. It would be great for them to have like some money because of the great value that they added to the given company. So those little details, also things related to tokenization and to like being able to freely access capital, which is like a big problem in Argentina, or being able to register your company and get investment from abroad and from like local investors. All of those things, and people in crypto just do them the crypto way. But if we're able to provide like a framework in which all of that is the crypto way, but also compliant, that's like a huge win for Argentina, for crypto, and for the world. Again, like the three stages.
Yeah, because usually, like people that truly want to innovate, they'll find a way around it. Sadly, it often just involves leaving the country or placing the legal structures in a separate country so the value accrues elsewhere. So there's obviously a big win in it being able to happen locally. But also, if you were able to create a legal framework that it's easy to understand and that anyone can do it, what you're actually doing is, I guess, you're bringing the barrier down. So you have to be less crazy to technically break the law to do what you want to do. And you get a lot more normal people doing normal innovation without having to spend too much time doing mental gymnastics and video gymnastics. Another example is, I think in Italy or some European countries, you pay tax based on whatever the government calculates that the company revenue is based on its industry. So if you do a fintech, they fuck you over like you're a bank, and you owe more money in tax than what it's. There's a lot of things that
I heard about that.
maybe it makes sense in a time when established companies were doing weird stuff to evade tax, so you got to pay tax anyway, even if they don't really know where the money is. I can see that. But those things need to be adjusted to a time where anyone can start a business in their garage. Like, you don't want to have a 16-year-old in Italy that starts building shit be deterred from doing so or having to leave the country because the government is still operating in a 70s mindset. And there's so many examples like that. Really,
It's a great option. Yeah, and I like the concept of bridge, because when you, and it's similar to the sharing point that I mentioned before, but specifically like bridge with crypto industry, hackers, and regulators. You said something very interesting. Like, I can see why they did something as stupid as taxing everyone the same, because it could have made sense in a given time set, given like moment, given conditions. The thing is that regulators, most of the time, they have like good intentions. They want to either protect people or empower innovation or make sure they can get like a good result of whatever they draft. And sometimes they are still like the enemy, the regulators, we need to find a way to escape from them. But it's mostly people with good intentions trying to create good incentives. Now, we have a lot of information of the kind of things we want to build and the kind of things that we need to build them, and a lot of experience from the entrepreneurial world. So we're trying to be a bridge between the industry and the regulators, so like everyone can understand each other better and we can come up with these like great massive opportunity zones. But that's one part of like Crecimiento. The other part is the startups. I talk a lot about the startup and not specifically about how we get them. So the achieve our visions, we work on the legal framework, but we also work on what we call the builder funnel. Now, if we want to transform the economy, we need these 10 to 20 to 30 very successful startups. To get that, you need thousands of startups because most of them will fail. And the people here building them, they know that most of them will fail, but they are still like super excited to build them and to try it out and to learn and grow and then try again the next time. Now, this is like startups 101 stuff. The thing is that what we do to make sure we get the thousands of builders is work on the builder funnel. So our whole ecosystem design is based on powering the builder funnel, getting more startups, more builders, more people into this funnel in which you have like millions of people that may have listened about building a startup, listened about crypto. Then you have like tens of thousands of people learning about crypto or startups, but then you have like a few thousands actually building them. And then you have like a few hundreds that are going to be like successful. And then you have these tens that are going to be like very successful. So this is like literally like typical funnel. And we're trying to work on different things that will add value to this funnel. And we're like being very conscious of keeping our eyes open so we can understand what is it exactly that the Argentinian tech and startup community needs for its like current funnel status. So for example, we now launched the Founder School, which is a great opportunity to people that have ideas or have projects, but very, very early on, to grow up, to connect with the network, to maybe raise some capital, to learn a bunch of very useful things from people that have already gone through the path. That's a very specific program. Now, we want to have like tens of these programs, like the accelerator, hackathons, the pop-up cities included, bootcamps, massive marketing campaigns on crypto and entrepreneurship. Like all of these different programs, adding power and opportunities to each of the stages of the funnel. And then while we're doing all of this, we get more people into Crecimiento. And from one program, you can move to the next one, or you can call your friend that's better suited for the other stage. But then we also learn more about the Argentinian ecosystem and where it is. If we see that we have like a lot of people in this program working in this stage of the funnel, maybe start prototyping, or maybe like a lot of great hackers into the hackathons doing awesome things, but we don't have enough people in the incubator stage. Okay, what can we do to help these people grow into their next step? So it's a funnel, but it's also like some sort of stair with some random elevators that people can also take. And it's a very graphic way of showing up on the complexity of building a startup and having thousands of people building different startups and being successful. We want to give better tools to everyone at every stage of the funnel. And we want to check this to understand where we can be most impactful to achieve our vision of getting this like 20, 30, 10, 50 very successful startups that are going to transform the country. Now, to do that, the goal is that we cannot do everything. We cannot do hackathon, accelerator, founder school, pop-up city, bootcamp, massive marketing campaign. We literally need like 150 of these programs this year only. We talk about 2025 being the year for Crecimiento because we are 150 of these programs. And it's not us that will do it, it's the community. So what we created and we launched very recently, so on the Twitter account, is like different programs for people that want to build these programs. Similar to how like Ethereum support program. Hey, I want to do a hackathon. Or hey, I want to do this bootcamp for the near community so they can learn more about what they can build or near developers. Okay. If you want to do that, then how can Crecimiento help you do that? How can we work together? So you actually go and do that bootcamp, and then this other guy does a hackathon, and then we get this accelerator, and everyone together is contributing to the file.
Dude, this is a code that I didn't know that I needed. This is
Yeah.
exactly what I was trying to get at before, because I can see how Crecimiento is like that launch pad. It's like the meeting of the minds. It's basically providing this space for the magic to happen. But I can also see how in that race or in those efforts to get more founders, to lift them up, to beat them up a little bit, to shapeshift them, whatever, there can be so many useful partners. Like I spend a lot of time going through all these, foundations, projects, documentation, every crazy shit that crosses my path on Twitter. Sometimes I go down rabbit holes and I see a lot of tools that are getting really good that if you put them in front of the right audience, it will click with some and they can go to some very special places. So that was precisely my question. I'm happy that you got ahead of me. What can people do if they listen to the podcast, if they want to check out what's happening in Argentina? Obviously, showing up in person, it's a must. We've established that. But if they want to be, come in as a partner, having boot camps, hackathons, hacker houses, party buses, are we taking sponsors for the night events as well?
Love that. Yeah.
So send me the link and I'll make sure to add it in the show notes and I'll share it to my Twitter and my contacts, wink, wink, as well. Because, yeah, I'd love to see a lot more of those global partners having a presence in Argentina. Because the key thing for me is we're not God and we can't play God. It's very hard to know what some people may be interested in or what some people may click with. I think that as ecosystem builders, we don't really care, or we shouldn't care which vertical or which tech stack or sort of like which flavor people go with, as long as we have those efforts and whether they succeed or fail, the knowledge keeps accruing, because people have, horizontal eyesight.
Yeah.
You're sitting in one table doing one thing and you see somebody else doing some other thing. Well, the best will hopefully lift the others and teach by example. So I think it's great to have an open platform. I'm in Colombia now, in Medellin. Less open. There is a group of people from a certain community and they want to keep a tight ship. There's always vested interests and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Quite cool city though.
Oh, it's amazing. But it's not it's a different city. It's more entertainment. It's like the capital of reggaeton. There's concerts all the time. Like it's culture. It's lifestyle. Argentina has a lot of everything, but I think Argentina has always been a tech hub. And I think that in some ways, you also need to acknowledge some of the things and don't fight the current. Like, for instance, if the goal is to have a hub in South America, I know at least 2 Colombians now that after attending the pop-up city the one in August and the one in December, they've actually relocated to Argentina. It doesn't mean that they're changing the line of work or that they're not going to contribute to Colombia or they're going to come back with some lessons, but it's just acknowledging that if there's few people aligned around a mission or a technology in the region, congregating where it is easier for the magic to happen, at least right now, is what makes the most sense. Like, I'd really like to see Crecimiento grow to the point where it starts having outposts in other
That would be
regions that would
amazing.
really change the world. But Buenos Aires is a place for now, so book your fucking flights. Buy
Yeah,
sleeping pills.
I think we should do some sort of like non-financial advice. Like you mentioned the two Colombians, we mentioned other examples. There's like really a lot of people, like from very cool people relocated to Argentina. It's really crazy. I've never seen something like this in Buenos Aires. Like everyone's like, oh, I like this. I'm coming next year. Oh, what about March? Okay, I'm gonna say longer. We really have a bunch of those people. So just beware. If you come from the pop-up city, you might want to stay forever. So or at least for a few years. So be very careful with that. If you are in a relationship, think about it twice. If you have a family, just have a plan for how you're gonna deal with your urge to relocate
Look,
here because it's not easy to deal with.
not financial advice, not relationship advice, but if I may say so myself, it's very easy to fall in love in Argentina. Dump whomever you have to dump if you have to. You'll find someone else in Argentina. I mean, yeah, I'd be worried if you have a dog. Maybe that's harder to replace. Although Argentina is an amazing city for dogs as well.
We don't have yeah, we don't have some of those.
So many. And dog walkers and parks. And I don't know how they do it because all apartments are tiny, but so many dogs.
Yeah, we do have dogs as well. But yeah, I think this is a great opportunity, and I really like what you were saying at the beginning about like, hey, let's not try to force it. Let's go where the magic is happening, and that's what we try to create. We try to like, the magic was all around, the energy was all around, the community, the Baba City vibes, all these main characters coming up together in the final scene that I believe is Crecimiento. Now we're trying to, kind of get all that everything to converge to this single point in the middle of the neighborhood of Buenos Aires. And actually, we talked about Aleph. I really love the name Aleph. Aleph is inspired in a tale from Borges, Jorge Luis Borges. He's like Argentina's most famous writer. He's really, really good. He wrote this tale called Aleph. And in his tale, the Aleph was just a single point in space where the whole universe converged at once. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here in the heart of Buenos Aires. That's exactly what Aleph was. That's exactly what Aleph is going to be. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's why I love this name so much.
I love it. If Crecimiento was in Colombia or when it expands to Colombia or Venezuela, we'll call it Macondo. But also from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's like this mythical city. There's this, I don't know if it extended down to Argentina, but at least up here, there's this weird literary genre called magical realism. And magical realism is basically that weird category where it's like weird shit that it's like it's not real. It's like there's like ghosts and shit, but it's also blended as a perfectly normal thing that just happens. And I describe basically like 98% of the things that happen in Venezuela as magical realism. Like
I love it. I love it.
it's bizarre in its own ways, but it's reality. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, Santi, we've spoken about a lot of things, including dogs and everything in between.
I guess.
Yeah. Are there any final thoughts that we want to share for people? I think we've established what Crecimiento is, a bit of history, how to get involved. Most important thing, we'll share those links. Hopefully we can get some more partners. Are there any other sort of like big trends for 2025 that you're excited about? Would it be crazy to ask you about Dev Connect?
Yeah, I have no more information about Dev Connect than you all probably have. That is like it's super close to being confirmed. We still have no like official confirmation, but my hopes increased like more and more, and it's probably close to 95% right now. And we see by the time you publish this, maybe it's already reality. Maybe we're all gonna be heartbroken because it's gonna be somewhere else. But I'm pretty sure like 2025 is like gonna be an amazing year for crypto, for Argentina and for the world. Again, the same like three sets of stages. And I want to make like one final point again, like if you're hearing this, you're thinking about going to Argentina and maybe get a new dog. Don't think about what you can do for Crecimiento, but think about this as an opportunity for everything we talked about, the community, the like regulatory landscape, the tech, everyone coming together, the purpose, whatever you like the most and makes you actually want to book a flight and come here and take those long flights thinking of how you can leverage this the most. It's not about what you can do for Crecimiento, but it's about what Crecimiento can actually do for you. And if we all think that way, and if you all are able to actually grow in whatever you want to see in the world, thanks to Crecimiento. Crecimiento means growth in Spanish, by the way. So if you're able to grow yourself, thanks to Crecimiento as a platform, as a launchpad, as a sharing point, as a bridge, then like we really made it. I'm gonna be super close to achieving our vision.
It's a great point to wrap it up. Yeah, there's a serendipity in conferences. I would have never guessed that meeting you in Thailand would lead to the pop cities and now a podcast guest. I know that there's a lot of companies and projects looking for DevRels in Latam, bilingual. As always, a search for talent. People meet their co-founders. You find some users, some investors. I think you're gonna embrace the unknown.
I love it.
Santi, it's been amazing. I really hope that Dev Connect finds its way to Argentina. I can't think of a location that deserves it more than Argentinians. I am very hopeful, and if it doesn't go your way, I'll be the first one on Twitter shitting on the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalis.
And then other people share on Twitter if it doesn't go to Argentina for sure.
Piling on, oh dude, we're starting a revolution. We'll get some some nasty tweets out there, little keyboard warriors, I'm talking about. Santi, thanks so much for your time, and I'll see you very soon. I'll be heading down to Argentina shortly.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you everyone who made it this far. I'll see you around.
Come on out. Stop it. Just stay on the line.